Unfortunately, debt has become so common now that most people don't realize how trapped that they actually are. They think that it's just normal. They think that it's just how things are. They think that it's the only way to have anything is to be in debt. And in fact, I saw a stat about probably 2 years ago. I forgot which article. I think it's a New York Times, something like that, Washington Post or something like that. But it was an article that stated that in the United States, that consumer debt, consumer credit card debt, I think that it was over $1 trillion. I'm sure that by now it's $2 trillion just consumer debt. And if I'm not mistaken, that was just credit card debt. That is astonishing. Do you know how much $2 trillion is? Neither do I, but I know it's a lot of money. $2 trillion. That's astonishing that people have that much credit card debt or that much personal debt here in the United States. The government's debt right now, which is our debt, also the public debt, is $38 trillion, almost $39 trillion. That is so much debt. We're drowning in debt. Not just the government, but individual debt. You know, people that you see here in this parking lot, most of these people have massive debt. And more than likely, you do too. And that's the way the system is set up. It is set up to keep us in debt, to make sure you're slaves to the system. Because if you owe the bank, the credit card companies, if you owe whoever, you are beholden to those people until you get that debt paid off. It's a horrible situation to be in. It really, truly is being in debt. And people will go in debt for things like furniture. And there's a place up here where you go in and you rent a couch, you rent a chair, or you go in debt for it and you pay payments on it. And finally, you might get it paid off in 10 years with interest. And you know, if you give $1,000 for a recliner or whatever, you're going to pay back $1,500 or more if you just pay that minimum payment on that. In the end, you pay a whole lot more by going in debt for it because you have to pay the interest. And just like the banks, you know, if you go in debt at the bank for your home, when most people have to do that, you know, I had to do that with mine, but I got it paid off as quickly as possible. But they don't want you to pay it off. They want you to stay in debt and just pay that minimum payment. That way you will always be paying maximum interest over the years. And they will make their maximum profit over the years. And if something happens, you know, you lose your job and you can't pay those payments, they take it back and they keep all of that. They keep what you paid plus all the interest that you paid. So it's a giant system that benefits all the banks and the creditors because you have this interest. And they keep you poor enough where you can't actually buy anything. You can't actually pay cash, usually for even things like furniture. And I will see people in the store with cards. Sometimes it's a EBD card, sometimes it's maybe a debit card, but I'm sure a lot of times that they're paying with a credit card. They're using a credit card to buy clothes. They're using a credit card to buy groceries. It's amazing, and they will pay interest on everything, pay more than what they normally would have if they would have paid cash. And a lot of people, I'm sure, you know, even if they have cash in their wallet, they will save that and put what they're buying on their credit card. And they think that they're doing well. They have a credit card with this so much of a limit on it, so they're doing great. They will even go on vacation and put it on a credit card, or take a loan out, you know, on their home and use that money that they got from the bank loan on their home, the mortgage, the second mortgage or whatever on their home. They will use that to go on a trip, to go on a vacation, to go take a Carnival cruise trip, whatever. They will go in debt to do that. Just so they can go on Facebook and social media and post photographs and brag about, you know, what they've done and how great it was and things, and hoping that no one realizes that they put themselves in debt, you know, when they did that. They didn't pay cash for that. They went in debt. They put it on their credit card, took a loan on their house. They put themselves in dire financial trouble in the long run just for that temporary fix. And that's the way that it seems like the United States, the population in general, has been programmed. You have to go in debt. You have to stay in debt. If you're not in debt, you're not doing something right. You're not prosperous. Now, there's ways that you can use debt to make money. If you're in the real estate, this isn't financial advice. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not a financial advisor. But a lot of people use debt to make more money. They will use debt to buy, a property, and they will fix that property up a little bit, or they will turn that property quickly and sell that property for a profit, and then pay the bank off before the bank gets all the interest. But if you just take and you go in debt for anything, a car, your house, and you just pay that minimum payment every single month, you'll never get it paid off, especially if it's a house. And you will pay way more than what you would normally pay because they're getting all the interest. And they don't want you to pay it off. They don't want you paying on the principal. They don't want you paying your payments ahead of time. They want you to pay the minimum payments. And most people do because they don't want to take and pay extra. They don't want to take and pay on their principal when they can just pay the monthly payment and keep a hold of it to keep living in it, but they never get it paid off. And in the end, they pay thousands of dollars more than what they would have normally paid because of the interest payments. It's a trap, and people just don't realize what kind of how deadly of a trap that it actually is. Because if you're in debt, someone else can come along, take your home for example, and come and just take it anytime they want it. Just like the county, if you don't pay your taxes over a few years, they will come and take it. Everyone has their hand out. You never really truly own anything. But if you're going to go in debt for a property, for a home, for anything for that matter, you want to take. Sometimes it can't be avoided, like I said, but you want to pay as much as you can on it, as quickly as you can on it, to get it paid off, especially if it's your house. And if you have to go in debt and put it on your credit card for clothes, for shoes, for a nice purse or whatever, there's something mentally wrong up here in your head if you're doing stuff like that. If you have to go in debt and put it on your credit card to buy clothes and shoes and a purse or jewelry or whatever you're buying, some shiny trinket or whatever, or to go on vacation, there's something wrong up here in your head. You can't afford it. Don't do it. Save your money. If it's what you want, save your money. Save, work a little more, save, and then go pay cash for it. Don't give these credit card companies, these corporations, these banks, all the interest. And if you have to go in debt for anything, again, this isn't financial advice, not a financial advisor, but if you have to go in debt for anything, if you have to, like your home, property, vehicle, whatever, don't just pay that minimum payment. If you can't afford to that month, then just pay your minimum payment. However, if you can afford to pay more, put off that vacation you want to go on and pay that money to get your debt paid down and get it paid off, because the interest is killing. The interest is killing you. It's robbing you. It's taking your sanity because they're getting so much more through the interest payments. When I bought my house, I owned my other house, and I sold it and bought this other house, which is a financial mistake on my part. I talked about that in another video. That was stupid on my part what I did, but I was a lot dumber then than I am now. But I sold my other place and bought this place I'm at now, this property now. And when I was at the bank, I went in debt, I think $60-something thousand. And I paid my down payment, $24,000 I had down payment. And then I sold my other property and paid that money on the house that I've got now too. But I still had, a payment. And when I was talking to the loan officer at the bank, and I told him I was going to get this paid off as quickly as possible. I could probably get it paid off in 3 or 4 years. And he didn't want me to pay it off. He said, why do that for? You just pay the payments on it. They don't want you to pay it off. They want you to stay in debt for as long as possible because they get the interest. They get all the interest payments, all the interest money. It's thousands and thousands of dollars. And if you don't pay, they still own it the whole time you're paying on it. The bank owns it. The bank has the deed. The bank has the ability, if you don't pay your payments, to come in and take it. That's what they want. They hope that you will get a property, you will pay your payments on it, you'll get it just about paid off, you'll pay all the interest payments on it, and finally you might get it paid down enough, and they hope you'll lose it. They get it back and they can resell it again and make more money off of it. But those interest payments, man, will eat you up alive. If you're having to go, like over here at this place over here, and go in debt for a couch, put it on your credit card, or go in debt, take a loan out to get a couch. If you go into the Walmart here where I'm at now, and you buy shoes, clothes, a purse or whatever, and you put it on your credit card, you're not bright, in my opinion. You're not bright financially. You may be smart, intelligent in other ways, but when it comes to finances, you can't control your urges, apparently, because you're going in debt just to satisfy that urge of getting something new. And you couldn't afford it because you had to put it on your credit card. And you have to pay payments on that, interest on that. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's a trap. It is a trap. Get out of debt as soon as possible. Don't go in debt at all if possible. But if you have to, get out of it as quickly as you possibly can. Don't just pay the minimum payments. Pay it off as quickly as possible and save yourself thousands and thousands of dollars, depending on what you're in debt for. But you're better off not to go in debt at all. But don't let those interest payments rob your wealth, your happiness, everything, because it will. Pay it off. Don't think you have to be in debt all the time. Don't think you have to have the shiniest object, the best clothes, shoes, purse, couch, whatever you're in debt for. Don't think you have to have that to impress someone else, because you can't afford it. If you're having to go in debt for it, put it on your credit card, you can't afford it. Don't do it. If at all possible, stay out of debt. If you're going to go in debt for business, that is different. If you know what you're doing and you do it correctly, sometimes you still can lose, in deals like that. You can buy a property, think it's going to sell, and then it don't sell when you thought it was going to, so you have to pay payments on it until you do sell that. But hopefully you can sell that, pretty quick and turn a profit on that and pay that loan off. You make money that way, so you can use someone else's money to make a profit. So that's different. But if you're just going in debt, like I said, to buy furniture, then that's not good. More than likely you have to go in debt for a house to buy property to live in, but don't just pay the minimum payment on it. Pay that off as quickly as possible, because they own you. They have you, as George Carlin said, they have you by the balls. The banks have you by the balls. The lenders, the credit card companies, have you by the balls. These businesses you go in debt with have you by the balls, or by the whatever that you've got hanging down there. They got you right by it. And when they want something, they'll squeeze it, and you're squeezing it all the time, and you're constantly under stress and worried about having to pay this off. So debt sucks. Debt is a trap. Try to avoid it in any way possible. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate y'all being here. Haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do that. Doesn't cost you anything, helps the channel out a lot. See you in the next video, hopefully.